Hello and welcome to NTA Nationwide. I'm Najaa Tijani. The Nigeria Labour Congress is urging the federal government to fast-track the process of sponsoring an executive bill to the National Assembly for a quick consideration of the new National Minimum Wage Bill. The president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Ayuba Wabba, made the call during the opening ceremony of a one-week NLC Harmattan School holding in Abuja. Emmanuel Ayemiro reports.
The issues of the new national minimum wage dominated discussions at the NLC Harmattan School, a program designed to address workplace challenges. While the role of trade unions in making Nigeria work for its citizens is being considered at the 5-day event, Labour is urging workers to stay calm to see the outcome of the new minimum wage.
Let government also make their timeline available to all of us so that we will be certain whether we're on the same page or not. But clearly, remaining silent without also informing us about the timeline will not be helpful in this situation. And therefore, we demand that there should be a timeline so that this 30,000 will be in the pocket of Nigerian workers.
The school system of the NLC comprises of the Harmattan and Rain schools. Other agenda to be discussed during the program includes the need for workers to avoid being used as political thugs during the 2019 general elections and the need for the politicians to respect the rule of the game. Emmanuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
And the people of Benue State say they have no alternative to President Buhari and other APC candidates in the state. This was at a special rally in support of the re-election of President Buhari in 2019. Adebola Brooksland Sunday reports.
From Benue State University, participants marched through Iocha U and Boko roads, Nigeria, chanting the slogan, "Say Baba, say Jimmy." As they walked through nooks and crannies of the city, residents, artisans, market men and women in solidarity joined the rally and pledged their supports. Call it a mass rally, you may not be wrong. And if you say it's a carnival, you may not be far from the truth, as youths, men and women in this rally converged to register their support for the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari and his vice, Yemi Osinbajo.
School feeding programs, you look at anchor borrowers scheme, you look at rail system, you look at roads, you look at electricity, you look at trade money, market money that is ongoing. There's so much of this social welfare scheme.
After the walk, the people proceeded to the campaign office donated by APC Youth League in the States.
We have a credible leader who is leading by example, and that is President Muhammadu Buhari.
Executive members of the Buhari Support Group Center were on ground on behalf of the president.
Baba will do the good, the beautiful, and the best.
Benue is Buhari land. The Mamo crowd has contradicted the normal propaganda that we see from the other side.
Before leaving Makurdi, the group was at a ceremony where a book titled Muhammadu Buhari Before Benue is Doomed was presented to the public.
The character of Buhari, everybody knows, is that of integrity.
Haris Tesu Washima, the author of the 77-page book, said Benue people understood the politics behind the crisis in the state, saying that President Buhari meant well for the people.
It's not about them, it's about the poor of Benue. And we, the common poor of Benue, we go with him, we'll vote him again in 2019. That is the position of the people.
We are going to sacrifice for him because Baba Buhari is the best among the best. Baba Buhari is not a deceiver.
Baba Buhari is doing all you could to make sure that the crisis between Fulani and the Benue people is a history.
The people describe President Buhari as the hope of civil servants, feeder of public school pupils, and the most charismatic leader. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
And still on rallies, the Buhari campaign organization is concluding arrangements for a mass rally in Bauchi State in support of President Muhammadu Buhari. The Northeast Zonal chapter of the organization met in Gombe in preparation for the rally, as reported by Bulgum Samari.
The Northeast Zonal meeting of Buhari campaign organization is one of the series of similar meetings held preparatory to the 2 million man march rally scheduled to hold in Bauchi on the 8th of December this year. The rally is being organized by the group to galvanize support for the re-election bid of President Muhammadu Buhari. The meeting dwelled extensively on how to finance the rally and to make it the best and the most peaceful.
The morale of Nigerians, especially the APC family, to send message to the country what Buhari is, what he has been doing, and what he intends to do.
Our vote, the vote for our husbands, the vote for the women, the vote for youth, is for us to show our appreciation to him for what he has already done, because he has done so much. Once you have no peace, you don't need money. What do you need it for? So we really appreciate Buhari.
Organizers believe canvassing support for President Muhammadu Buhari is the only way they can show their appreciation for the relentless effort to restore peace and rebuild the sub-region. In Gombe, Bulgum Samari, NTA News.
And achieving violence-free, fair and credible elections that would be acceptable internationally was the focus of a one-day training for National Youth Service Corps members across the 6 area councils in the Federal Capital Territory. It is part of a series of activities designed to prepare the Corps members who are part of officials to be deployed in the conduct of the 2019 general elections by INEC. Akim Dairo reports.
28-year-old Ayodeji Faru is a Corps member from Ocean State, serving in the FCT. He has been an advocate of voter education for 8 years now, urging stakeholders, especially politicians, to engage the youths in positive ventures instead of using them as tools for electoral violence. Now that the campaigns for the 2019 general elections has commenced, he joins hundreds of other Corps members in this training on violence-free election.
We have mapped out strategies to reach everybody within the nook and cranny of Nigeria, not just FCT alone.
Change begins with you. It is you, it is me.
To educate the masses on how to vote, why they should cast their vote, and where they should cast their vote.
We are taking this message of hope to everywhere to ensure that we effectively educate Nigerians.
Our target audience are women, youths, and of course, people living with disabilities.
It is to achieve this that the country representative of Westminster Foundation, one of the organizers of the event, says the training will be replicated in the 36 states of the Federation.
Need to be told that, look, they don't have to be involved in violence leading to the election, and importantly, that they should not be induced. Their votes should not be bought.
It is expected that Ayodeji and other Corps members will take the message of voter education to the grassroots to achieve a violent-free 2019 elections.
And still on good governance, Nigeria can be greater with outright rejection of politics of bad governance and selfish leadership. This is the position of some civil society organizations who are urging the electorates not to sell their votes in the 2019 polls. Timothy Yusuf reports.
Electioneering period as this has often been characterized in the past by violence, godfatherism and corruption, spreading from one part of the country to the other. Change for Africa Foundation believes that this ugly past can be written off as Nigeria gears towards the 2019 general elections. In this direction, members are provoking Nigerians into actions that will increase participation in the nation's democracy.
We come not as a political party or opposition to government, but rather as partners to the work of good governance and a better Nigeria.
In a similar effort towards strengthening democratic tenets, a coalition of civil society organizations led by the Center for Peace and Environmental Justice has passed a vote of confidence on the electoral umpire INEC and security agencies ahead of the 2019 elections.
With the effort of INEC, we believe 2019 will be better than 2015. As CSOs, we are bridge builder. We are only bridging the gap and encouraging them.
The coalition says every Nigerian has a role to play in the success of the forthcoming general elections, either through advocacy or direct participation, so that bad leaders will not emerge through the polls. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NT News.
Now, in furtherance of the policy of judicial accountability which has been on in Nigeria in the last 4 years, judges of lower courts in the country are now to submit quarterly reports of the cases they handle. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onogen, gave the directive at the opening of this year's All Nigeria Judges Conference of the lower courts. Judiciary correspondent Femi Okewu reports.
Since the tenure of Justice Aloma Mariam Mukhtar as Chief Justice of Nigeria, the National Judicial Council had made judges of superior courts submit reports of list of cases they handle as part of their performance evaluation. Now, Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onogen, has directed that judges of lower courts go through similar process in order to strengthen their accountability to the nation's judicial system and in view of their indispensable nature to the success of the judiciary.
There is no doubt that the target participants at this conference play an important role in the administration of justice. The non-technical nature of proceedings in your courts, I dare say, is a major appealing factor to the grassroots, hence the reason for a large volume of cases in your courts.
The National Judicial Institute announced that it has continued to widen its scope of training to all parts of the nation's judiciary.
The judiciary can only grow when and if it embarks upon continuous reforms in the discharge of its statutory responsibility to uphold and project the rights of citizens, preserve the rule of law, and ensure adherence to due process.
The conference is a biannual training and interaction for judges of the Sharia Courts of Appeal, Customary Courts of Appeal, and Magistrate Courts from across the country. In Abuja, Femi Okewu, NTA News.
Now, time to join Hingino in Lagos for more stories on Nationwide. Thank you, Naja'atu, and welcome to Lagos. Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo says Securities and Exchanges Commissions Association across Africa and beyond have a contributory role towards ensuring the African economy is on a path of positive trajectory by deepening intra-African trade and foreign direct investment for sustainable economic growth in the continent. Professor Osinbajo stated this during the 22nd African Securities and Exchanges Association Conference in Lagos.
Commerce is on the rise. Africa, as we all know, is the last frontier for virgin economic opportunities. We also realize the importance of a sustainable future, and we've become one of the first, if not outrightly, the first African government to float a green bond to promote the environmental objectives, of our economic recovery and growth plan. Of course, sustainability is not only about repairing the environment, but also about ensuring that our rising populations can be clothed, can be fed and housed without further depleting or damaging the finite stock of global resources. Now, this will require using resources more efficiently and effectively.
For lasting peace to be achieved, religious tolerance and political rivalry must be discouraged by Christians. This was the crux of the message at this year's national prayer in Lagos. Lynn Leneke reports that the event was organized by Nigeria Praise Organization.
The convergence of clergymen, government officials, and Nigerians from all spheres of life underscores the necessity for fervent prayers aimed at national unity, transformation of the mindset of Nigerians, and healing of the land.
There will be unity in our land. There will be security in our land. We shall have a nation of our dreams.
Convener Nigeria Praise Group General Yakubu Gawan emphasized God's intervention in security situation in the country can only come through supplication.
May I urge the church and the people of Nigeria to embrace the spirit of love, patriotism, and commitment to the good of our nation.
Help us by the power of your Holy Spirit to elect the ones you have chosen.
Let us pray for the security of the lives of those internally displaced members.
Special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, who represented President Muhammadu Buhari, was among dignitaries in the intercessory prayer sessions.
The challenges are multifarious. Apart from human effort, you also need the divine.
Nigeria Praise has consistently organized and mobilized Nigerians to offer fervent and result-oriented prayers for the nation in the last 22 years. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.
Violence against women and girls has been identified as the manifestation of a profound lack of respect, a failure by men to recognize the inherent equality and dignity of women. This was one of the conclusions at a seminar organized by a non-governmental organization, Women Arise, in collaboration with the United Nations Information Center as part of the 16 days activities marking the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women and Girls. Ruth Ario Samuel has details.
International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women and Girls focuses on the need to raise awareness of the fact that women around the world are subject to rape, domestic violence, and other forms of violence. I have with me Mrs. Fatima, a survivor of such violence.
I used to have several beatings by my husband, but 16th of February, I got to see Mrs. Joe Odumake. She took the matter up with me.
Even if it's only one person that is inspired, if it's only one person that realizes it's not going to be stigmatized and we speak up, if it's only one person that will be helped, I think it's worth doing.
We are collaborating with the government of Nigeria, the civil society and other stakeholders to end violence against women.
The International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women and Girls 2018 has a theme, Orange the World, Hear Me Too. Hinginu, it's back to you.
Thank you, Ruth. Time now to join Caleb Gushin in our Just Network Center for more on Nationwide. Hello, Caleb.
Welcome to JOS. The Chairman Senate Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, has expressed satisfaction with the good performances in the implementation of 2017 and 2018 budgets. This came to the fore when he led other members of the committee on an oversight function to the National Veterinary Research Institute, VOM, in Plateau State, where they met with heads of agricultural research institutes. Rit Jimwa Chinyendung has the details.
The visit, which entails an inspection of 2017 and 2018 budget performance, was to also assess the level of its implementation alongside the achievement and constraints, as well as the fiscal inspection of ongoing capital projects. Heads of the 7 research institutes visited took turns to narrate their achievement as well as their key challenges of inadequate release of funds to their institutions.
We are not on internet services because we have not been able to pay MTN for a very long time. This and so many others. Most of the machines we have are aging. we need something to actually buy new machines.
But we receive an appreciable level of release compared to other institutions, and with that, we are able to provide additional furnished befitting office facilities.
The chairman pledged to relate their ordeals to the floor of the Senate and also look for ways forward to solving some of the problems raised by the agency.
Overhead is not quite what we wanted yet, but they have all expressed satisfaction with the progress that's been made.
The meeting brought together heads of research institutes from Borno, Gombe, and Plateau State in Jos, Rijima, Chinyendung, NTA News.
In order to achieve a violent-free election in Plateau State, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has organized an enlightenment campaign aimed at educating youths on the dangers of political thuggery during and after the 2019 general elections. Dong Chun has the report.
The Enlightenment Campaign focuses on the benefits of violent-free elections in Nigeria and Plateau State. Governor Simon Lalong, represented by Director General, Peace Building Agency Joseph Lengma, pointed out that no meaningful development can be achieved under the atmosphere of chaos. Hence, there is the need for citizens to change the narratives.
What the rescue administration is all about. Coordinating, operating, reaching out, building bridges, repairing the broken social fabrics of our society for the sake of peace, development of our own people.
Commandant, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Plateau State, Solomon Olasupo, said youth participation in politics is one of the things that is really encouraged in Nigeria.
And also equip ourselves for any challenges that may come within the election.
The Bongom Jos, that Jacob Gangbuba, represented by Gomre of Riom, that Samuel Jok said, the Enlightenment campaign is timely and appealed that the workshop should reach the grassroots. The campaign drew members of sister security outfits in the state who commended the effort of the organizers. Njos, Dungchun, NTA News.
The Nigerian Legion Second Phase Leadership Retreat for Commandant's Corps of Commissioners has ended in Jos. The three-day retreat is aimed at aligning its activities for effective role play in the society. Elijah Ojole has the details.
The retreat, with the team harmonizing and aligning the Nigerian Legion activities for more effective role play, is meant to sharpen the understanding of the leadership and the Nigerian Legion to meet its responsibilities to members and the nation.
Today we are on to phase 2 that deals with the leadership of the Corps of Commissioners. What we plea for is support, appreciation, recognition.
The leadership retreat, which drew participants across the Federation, is also aimed at pursuing the welfare of the veterans. The National Chairman, Nigerian Legion, Brigadier General Adakole Akpa, retired, said the Legion partners with other organizations to cater for the welfare of ex-servicemen.
We go to organizations that offer scholarship, they give us. We go to organizations that offer other jobs. We tend to qualify people there, including the United Nations, the African Union, and the EU.
The Nigerian Legion was established by Decree No. 37 of 1988 to cater for the welfare of ex-servicemen and women, and to bring about the unity of all those who have served in the Nigerian Armed Forces as one last career course, even in meritorious retirement. In Jos, Elijah Ojole, NTA News.
And that's our package from Jos. Nationwide, we will continue after this break.
Hate speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
Under no conditions whatsoever should we tolerate or excuse or justify hate speech or hateful conduct of any kind, especially where such is illegal.
There is no doubt that the resurgent push for separatism, as well as the rising cases of ethnic and religious disharmony, are all traceable to the growing phenomenon of hate speech.
One nation bound in freedom.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement.
The inaugural Nigeria Diaspora Investment Summit holds on the 27th to the 29th of November 2018. Summit will take place at the Banquet Hall, Presidential Villa, Abuja, with the theme, Activating Diaspora Investments for a Diversified Economy. For registration, visit www.ndis.gov.ng. For participation in sponsorship details, please call. Email admin@ndis.gov.ng. The Nigerian Diaspora Investment Summit, harnessing Nigeria's investment opportunity.
I am Barrister Bola Kale Yusuf, the Baale of Bodesadu. I like to use this opportunity to thank the federal government, especially apart from all other novel programs that has reached the grassroots people. I want to thank them for the National Household Cash Transfer Scheme. For the first time, probably in the political, I'm talking about Manda, Salanga, Lasaki, Ajegunle, Ajia, Elemere. All these are inner villages that ordinarily government policy don't ever get to them, not to talk of a direct intervention in their financial well-being. I commend this project and I wish that it goes on because it is touching the people that actually need government attention.
The 2019 elections is approaching. While making up your mind on who to vote in every part of Nigeria, remember, corruption kills. It results in poorly equipped hospitals, poorly constructed bridges, poor quality of education, lack of jobs, poor quality of healthcare, lack of quality housing, deprivation and suffering, economic depression. It drives away foreign investment. It brings about lack of infrastructure. It is an embarrassment to our nation. At the federal level, in every state, in every local government, vote wisely. Elect leaders with integrity and proven character. That is one critical step towards building a great nation. You have a role to play. Vote wisely.
This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
Thanks for staying with NTA Nationwide. Many members of the People's Democratic Party in Nkoro community, the hometown of the Deputy Governor of Abia State, have defected to the APC. The governorship candidate of the party in the state, Dr. Samson Uche Oga, who received the new members, described the action as a clear demonstration of grassroots support for President Buhari's re-election bid. Dennis Temple has more.
Less than 90 days to the general elections, members of the All Progressive Congress in Abia State are harvesting new converts following the defection from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressive Congress by more than half a community of Mboro Asian Kingdom in Ohofia local government area, the hometown of the Deputy Governor of Abia State. This is the second largest defection recorded in the community within a shortest time. The All Progressive Congress leadership and the governorship candidate in Abia State said it is a demonstration of the people's desire to change leadership in the state.
Abia needs a change, and the time is now.
The leader of the defectors, Prince Ara Aronsi, assured of his commitment to give a massive turnout of votes in favor of the All Progressive Congress during the election, stating that he will replicate the defection in Ohofia and Arochun local government areas, respectively. Recall that the former governor of Abia State, Chief Oji Ozokalo, had received some key players of the local politics in Mboro to the All Progressive Congress fold. In Mboro, Ohofia local government area, Dennis Temple, NTA News.
Now, a Cuban delegation is in Nasarawa State to formalize modalities for investment in animal husbandry, healthcare, and education. This is a dividend of an earlier visit by the Nasarawa State government delegation to the Caribbean island nation. Joshua Ojito reports.
On the feasibility study tour of the state, the delegation will meet key stakeholders before signing memoranda of understanding on the areas of interest, including services to fight malaria and Lassa fever and establishment of cattle ranch. This is as a pilot scheme on the proposal of ranching system in the country by the government. Recall that the state government revived the gazetted cattle ranches and routes in the state as part of efforts to end farmers' herders crisis. It is expected that herders and other commercial cattle rearers will be trained on modern methods of rearing.
Nasarawa State is likely going to have 5 different ranches, each of which will produce, will keep about 1,000 cows for a start as pilot scheme with the help and support of Cuban specialists replicating what they have in what we saw in Cuba.
In terms of technology, in terms of some of the knowledge we have to share with you for the animal health, to control malaria, to control Lassa fever, and animal feed. So we have some technologies and some knowledge that would be very helpful for Nasarawa State.
The Cuban delegation will also visit agricultural institutions. In Abuja, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Working together in West Africa to mitigate the impact of climate change in line with the 2015 Paris Agreement was the concern of stakeholders and experts at a workshop for ECOWAS parliamentarians in Abuja. The workshop, which is part of the ongoing second ordinary session of the parliament, was declared open by the Senate President, who was represented by the Chairman, Senate Committee on Environment, Senator Oluremi Tinubu. Joseph Orok reports.
Agreement is a bond within the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, dealing with greenhouse gas emissions, mitigation, adaptation, and finance. The agreement is expected to start 2020 and to be reviewed every 5 years, with 195 countries as signatories. It is in pursuance to meeting these agreements that this workshop is put together to enlighten the Parliament to know their role to fast-track the implementation of the agreement.
As legislatures, our roles in ensuring that these climate actions are domesticated in our various countries via robust legislations and policies cannot be overemphasized.
We must translate these international decisions to our local legislations to make sure that they work very well. And the ECOWAS Parliament will work very well in taking appropriate dispositions to make sure that the institutions help the countries in the implementation of this Paris Agreement.
African Development Bank and the Nigerian Ministry of Environment promise to strategize towards mitigating the effects of climate change.
Addressing climate change requires the involvement of all key stakeholders, of course including Parliament, which has a critical role to play. Of the 54 African countries that signed the Paris Agreement, 45 have ratified it, thanks to the strong and tight turning role played by the African parliamentarians.
For us in Nigeria, to guide the implementation of the nationally determined contribution under the Paris Agreement, we have developed the sectoral action plans for the 5 priority sectors, which will give us the pathway for meeting our commitment.
The regional workshop was on the role of the African parliamentarians in the implementation of Paris Agreement, challenges and prospects. In Abuja, Joseph Orok, NTA News.
Records from the United Nations show that the act of violence has continued to be an obstacle to achieving equality, development, peace, as well as the fulfillment of women and girls. As the world marks another International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, Basi Taikbang takes a look at the significance of the day.
United Nations General Assembly 1993
defined violence against women as any act of gender-based violence that results or likely to result in physical, sexual, or psychological suffering to women. It is said to be one of the most widespread, persistent, and devastating human rights violation, which manifests itself in various forms.
We cannot continue to live our life in fear. This is the time for us to come together, create awareness.
Others should learn to drag their children closer to themselves so that we can reduce these cases of violence, molestation, and what have you.
The day is therefore to further amplify voices of victims, bring them together to speak out in a bid to ending the menace.
So it's important for you to be heard. It's important that you start from your little corner where you are. Every year we celebrate a theme, and then what happens after that? We have more cases on our hands. You know, there should be need for an M&E, monitoring and evaluation, to know whether we are actually following that theme to the last.
It also features the launch of 16 days of activism by the United Nations that will end on the 10th of December to mark the International Human Rights Day. This theme comes with an hashtag, Hear Me Too, which experts say stresses the need to change the narrative from questioning the credibility of the victim to pursuing the accountability of the perpetrator. Asitaikman, NT.
As 2019 polls draw nearer, INEC holds voter education roundtable in Enugu. Let's join Chinyere in our Enugu studio for details of this and other stories making the rounds in that zone.
Thank you, Naja Atu, and welcome to Enugu Network Center. Ahead of the 2019 general elections, the electorate in Enugu have been advised to avoid acts capable of jeopardizing their chances of electing credible leaders, especially vote buying. This was the focus of a voter education forum by the National Orientation Agency in Enugu State. Amish Pius reports.
Passionate appeal from the various speakers at this voter education program organized by the National Orientation Agency. Speaker after speaker took turns to prick the consciences of the people, asking the electorate to take the business of election this time seriously. They want the voters, that is the electorate, to be serious. People to occupy positions of leadership in the country, especially the office of the president. One thing that they have urged people to do is to ensure that they are not bought over by greedy politicians who are not credible. It was an interactive exercise that afforded participants the opportunity to examine critical electoral issues all aimed at ensuring free and fair elections next year. The rights of the electorate to a successful exercise, expectations from the umpire, INEC, and effective security during and after elections dominated discussions at the event.
So many people are confused, but with this lecturer, they lectured us. In fact, many people have corrected so many mistakes.
If Nigeria will continue enlightening people like this, at least then Nigeria will develop time.
At the end of the exercise, the takeaway for participants at this forum is that they have come to terms with the reality that the electorate has the power to choose who leads them. The choice they make in the February 2019 general elections will either make or mar their future. In Enugu, Amechi Pius, NTA News.
In line with the culture of maintaining standards in all Air Force schools, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Vice Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, has charged contractors handling projects at the Air Force Comprehensive Secondary School, Abani, Enugu State, to do quality jobs or have their contracts revoked. He gave the warning while inspecting ongoing projects in the school. Susan Eze has the details.
With
With a total of 19 projects aimed at improving infrastructure in the school, the Chief of Air Staff, represented by the Chief of Logistics, Air Vice Marshal Ibrahim Yahaya, said the projects would be followed up with regular oversights to ensure the Nigerian Air Force gets value for its money. After a tour of the projects, Air Vice Marshal Yahaya said there is need for the contractors to improve on what they have on ground, adding that all projects, including supply of, are expected to be completed in the next 8 weeks.
There are problems. I express my dismay where the contractor is falling below standard. I have told him this is what I think it should be, and they should try and meet up the standard.
The Nigeria Air Force, he said, is committed to making their schools across the country next to none by providing quality and conducive environment for learning.
What is happening in Enugu, it is happening in Lagos, it is happening in Ibadan. Last year we looked at Kaduna, which was a day student, now it's a boarding school. Everywhere we are improving on both the infrastructure, the learning equipment and facilities, as well as the human capacity.
Some of the projects include accommodation for the commandant, airmen, students and corps members, water and road projects and sports facilities, among others. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
Agricultural Transformation Agenda Support Program, in conjunction with International Cross Research Institute, have held their first Brown Farmers Field Day to involve South in the cultivation of sorghum. Chidima Madu reports.
Project, which is currently in Adani, Omo, Buda Badagry, Kano Jigawa and Kebi Sokoto, all have recorded success in the cultivation of sorghum. Adani Omo region, which started this project last year, has recorded growth than others, with other regions harvesting sorghum at an average of 1.8 tons per hectare. Adani Omo harvests at 2.5 to 3 tons per hectare. The project is new in the southeast with an already established market with high demand.
We have just seen them demonstrate how to use thresher. Before now, they have introduced spacing for the sorghum. They are looking at how to tin and other good agricultural practices. Even those who are making noodles now, the spaghetti, etc., they are also using sorghum. And what does that mean? It means they will rely less on the wheat, importation of wheat, and we can conserve foreign exchange.
Some sorghum farmers from East Suzo, Orumba North and Orumba South said they encountered less burden in cultivating sorghum compared to other cereals like rice and maize. This funded by African Development Bank through the Ministry of Agriculture and Natural Resources and the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. In Enugu, Chidima Madu, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Enugu Network Center. It's back to Naja Atu in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Chinyere. Back from Enugu, we'll take a break. More stories after this timeout.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Yeah, Mode.
You have Java? Yes. And Abula. Yes, sir. Black or white? Yamala. Have I ever eaten white amala here before? Yes, sir. Give me amala and abula. Do you have dodo? Dodo. Good. Let me have some dodo. I want you to put the meat in a bowl.
shaki, suku, abodi. I like my edo to be very tender. You have stockfish? Yes, sir. Good. Let's have some stockfish. And the catfish, my favorite. Don't mind them. You have eggs. I would like 6 boiled eggs. No eggs. But catfish will do. And then rice. Rice and then some salad. Look. Do you have a guru?
When you hear that sound, you know that Nigeria's most authentic newscast is about to begin. NTA Network News, breaking the news for over 40 years.
Nigeria, a land of promise, land of potential, rich in oil, arable land and solid minerals. Yet hunger, joblessness, homelessness and poverty are widespread. Over the years, Nigeria has suffered from hospitals without drugs, schools without teachers, and a huge infrastructure deficit. Clearly, we are yet to reach our full potential. And one of the reasons is because people choose bad leaders. Some even sell their conscience for a few thousand naira. For 2019 elections, don't sell your vote. Don't sell your future. Don't buy the people's lives. Vote selling is a crime against yourself. You will spend the next 4 years paying for it. Vote buying is against the law. Politicians, stop buying votes. People, stop selling your future. This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
Thanks for staying with NTA Nationwide. Deepening bilateral ties between Nigeria and Korea, as well as creating a forum for capacity building and knowledge sharing, is what the South Korean International Cooperation Alumni Association in Nigeria, SkyCan, is providing through its platform. This is the third in the series of the association's annual gathering. Gufan Shaji reports.
It is another period for alumni of the South Korean International Cooperation Association of Nigeria, SkyCan, to meet, interact and plan further on how to bridge and strengthen ties between Korea and Nigeria through corporate responsibility, advocacy, and business promotion. The Korean government recognizes Nigeria as one of its most important partners and endeavors to expand exchanges in various fields of trade and commerce, investments, transfer of technology, and technical training for the mutual benefit of the two countries.
KOICA Nigeria office for the last 10 years, we have sent out more than 2,000 Nigerian government officials to Korea for the short-term and long-term and mid-term training programs in the field of education, health, agriculture, finance, you can name it, and what they can do in their agencies or ministries, which we called action plans. And then we select it together, and then sometimes if the plans are really good, we also, small scale, also support those action plans.
The forum also provided an opportunity for the alumni to share their experiences in Korea and plan on possible ways to apply the gathered knowledge to transform Nigeria through their various careers. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji, NTA News.
The Nigerian Navy says it will continue to place a premium on training and physical fitness of personnel to enhance its operational efficiency and combat readiness towards defending the nation's maritime domain. Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Ibok Iteibaz reaffirmed this at the third quarter route march of the Nigerian Navy in Abuja. Defense correspondent Olajide Bello reports.
The Nigerian Navy's role in protecting the economic base of the country is a major contributor to the security and stability that translates into rapid economic development. The Navy's military role is also characterized by the threat or use of force from the nation's maritime domain, which include application of maritime power in both offensive operations against enemy forces' territory and defensive operations to protect own forces' territory. All these are possible through emphasis of the Navy to keep personnel both mentally and physically fit.
The successful conduct of this fourth quarter route march here in Abuja area, and indeed in all other naval formations, attest to our readiness and resolve to continue to partner with other security and sister services to defend the territorial integrity of our dear nation, Nigeria.
While commending President Muhammadu Buhari for providing the Navy with logistics to effectively protect the nation's waters, the Navy reiterated its commitment not only to display its supremacy, but to always defend the country's maritime domain. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
And still on physical fitness of another kind, 2018 Africa Women's Cup of Nations enters semi-finals Tuesday as 32nd Dala Hardcourt Tennis Championship ends in Kanu. Kene Emabodike brings us details on Sports Update.
The Super Falcons